I know, we talking about the characters in the next video, but that's coming soon, I promise. However, this information, I just had to get it out quickly, and you know, it just struck me that I had to get this out as quickly as I possibly could. So the characters, we'll talk about those in the next video, I promise. But for now, let's talk quickly about this new hack that you can use, which will essentially make you never ever lose a dueling battle. Now don't worry, this is in no way form or other a form of cheating, because this is just using an exploit of a feature that Jam City has overlooked. It's basically a bug in a way which you can exploit and basically never lose a dueling match ever. So don't worry, this isn't cheating. Your account is not going to get banned for this. Now I know in the previous video I talked about spamming aggressive and that being the best strategy for dueling. Yes, it is definitely the best strategy in dueling, spamming aggressive, and I made a full video about it. Go check it out if you haven't yet already. But that method, 90% effective, but this one is 100% effective. So for this video, I'd like to thank Ruben for it, who commented on my previous video. So thank you, Ruben. If it wasn't for you, I would not have known about this method. So this is basically how it works. After you spam aggressive, sometimes it's not going to work in your favor. Like I said, it only works about 90% of the time, because the 10% of the time, the opponent that you're up against is going to use defensive stance a lot, and because of that, it's going to cause them to attack on you, either through Bombarda or by throwing the Vial. So if they throw the Vial or Bombarda, it's going to cause you some damage, and if they repeatedly do that over a period of time, you might just lose the duel, even though spamming aggressive is one of the best strategies out there. So how do you circumnavigate around this? Well, like I said before, the opponent that you're facing up against is AI. It's not a real person, it's all computer generated, which means there is a pattern and it's not random. The pattern is set in stone and it's the same pattern that happens every time. And this is what I'm talking about. So basically, as you can see over here, my health is almost down to minimum and my opponent's health is still full. Obviously, spamming aggressive in this scenario didn't exactly work. So what I did was I switched off my Wi-Fi and mobile data, just completely switched it off, and then I forced closed the game. So let's just fast forward here a little bit, because I don't want to show you guys too much of this time where I'm just loading the game. Basically, when I'm back, it basically brings me back to that same moment that I was at before, right? I didn't really do much of a difference here, but take note of this point. Let's call this point A. So let's continue on. I'm going to use the same tactic that I've taught you guys before by spamming aggressive. So that's what I use, and the opponent has chosen sneaky. That's good because it works in my favor. I can inflict damage on my opponent. Again over here, and I'm going to be using the same tactic once again. I'm going to spam aggressive, but in this case, it's working against me because the opponent has chosen to use defensive method, and because I know I might just die in the next move, I didn't take a risk. Even though the opponent is drinking a potion, it's not going to affect me in any way. I didn't want to prolong this battle any further. So what I decided to do was I did the same thing again, switched off the Wi-Fi, forced close the app, and reopened the app again. And what you're going to notice is once you reconnect to the game, it's going to open up at the same point that I told you guys about earlier, point A. So once again, repeat the steps. As you saw earlier, when I used the aggressive stance, the opponent chose the sneaky stance, so that's what's happened again. And now, before the next move, I know that the opponent is going to choose defensive stance because they're going to repeat the same moves. It's not going to be a complete random change again. So because I know they're going to choose defensive, I would then choose sneaky stance so that I can inflict damage upon them and still win this round. So over here, I decided to choose sneaky, and that's why they didn't win this round. And now I'm at a stage where I have not seen what is the next move of the AI, of the opponent. I don't know what the AI is going to do next, so I stick back to my original plan of spamming aggressive. But then I realized, oh, the opponent is using defensive stance again. So I repeat the process. I switch off the Wi-Fi, force close the app, and reopen the app once more. As you can see, we've returned back to point A, where the opponent's health is full. So once again, I use the aggressive stance and the opponent uses sneaky stance. I beat them. and then again I use the sneaky stance because I know they're going to use defensive stance, and then for the third time I again use the sneaky stance because I know they're going to use again the defensive stance. Now once again we are in a new territory. I do not know what the AI is going to do next, so let's call this point B. Now point B, as you can see, take note of the health over here. So at point B, once again I revert back to my original strategy, which is to spam aggressive. So I choose aggressive, and this time around I'm lucky enough the opponent has chosen sneaky, so it works in my favor. Once again the opponent has chosen to choose a defensive stance, and because their health is so low, I decide not to allow them the chance to give them that if they decide to drink this potion they're going to heal back up. This match is just going to get longer and longer. So once again I switched off the Wi-Fi, force closed the app, and reopen the app once again. Now once we're back in, as you can see, as you look at the health, you can notice that we are back at point B, as I mentioned before. So at point B, I'm already in this aggressive stance. So once I choose my move, it's going to repeat the same thing again. And as we know, the opponent is going to choose the defensive stance once more after this round. And once they choose that, all I need to do is choose sneaky stance because that trumps over defensive, and boom, there you have it. I have won this dueling match. So that is basically the hack that I told you guys about. Basically just switching off your Wi-Fi or mobile data, whatever you're on, force closing the app, reopening the app again, and of course switching back on your Wi-Fi. I realized I didn't say that earlier. So once that is done, the game will reload itself a couple of steps before where you had finished it off, and basically it's going to repeat the same steps. The opponent is going to choose the same stance every single time, and this is just further proof of the opponent being an AI and that it's just using computer generated moves, and it's the same moves every time. Those moves are not reshuffling. So yes, that way you can guarantee yourself a 100% chance of winning a duel every single time. Now I personally will only use this move only if I am about to lose the duel. Like you saw, my health was very low, then only will I use this method. Otherwise I will spam aggressive as much as I can because that is just going to save me a lot of time. Now I did receive some comments in the previous video as well. I would like to address that with regards to what if I am in year 1 or year 2 and I have not learned the spell Depulso yet. Well, if you have completed year 1 at least, then you have learned the spell Expelliarmus, which does half the damage as Depulso. Not as much as Flipendo does, but at least Expelliarmus will do half the damage as Depulso, so you can still spam Expelliarmus in place of Depulso. Yes, Expelliarmus deals lesser damage than Flipendo, but if you choose aggressive, that prevents the opponent from choosing a sneaky stance, and if the opponent also chooses an aggressive stance, at least it's a draw, you won't receive much damage. So there you have it, guys. That is the hack that I was telling you guys about. I have a feeling Jamsey is going to fix this issue really soon, but until then, until they fix it, use this bug to your advantage, and yeah, happy dueling. With that being said, that's the end of this video. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye bye.